Welcome to the Lounge Lizard podcast. It's so good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo, and tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Poobah, Senator Pagoda, and Bam Bam. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some cognac, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 40th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a Cuban cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We do a deep dive on Poobah's favorite cigar. Senator introduces us to the world of cognac, and we discuss how age can turn a good Cuban cigar into a great one, all among a variety of other things for the next hour. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair Remy Martin VSOP with the H. Upmann No. 2. We're back to the Battle of the Pyramids tonight on the pod with the H. Upmann No. 2. A very special cigar tonight for several reasons. Number one, we all love this cigar. Number two, it's Poobah's favorite cigar, so we're checking a couple boxes tonight. And number three, he has been so generously kind to bring us 8-year aged Upmann 2s from the Upmann factory.
Yep.
Wow.
Lub 14.
Lub 14. We've made
Lub
reference
14,
in the past.
You know, people love the box code in the year, particularly, you know, from Upmann. So Lub 14 lubbing. There's a whole hashtag lubbing.
Lubbing Upmann.
So, but I really love these. I've procured some over the past couple of years, and it's a pleasure to share these tonight because what's better than sharing a cigar with friends? I think there's really no pleasure in smoking some of these things alone. So,
Yeah, I think it's very kind of you to bring these. These are awesome, and I know these are your secret stash of Lub 14. Upmann
yeah,
2s,
I hope
so.
they smoke well for everybody.
Well, we'll remember you didn't roll them.
What do you? Let's cut this thing, boys. Let's see what we're getting on the cold draw on the wrapper. It's a beautiful cigar.
The drawer is wide open.
Oh, I can't wait. I really love these cigars, man.
Wide
I
open.
haven't had one this age, so this is a real treat for me tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Draw is perfect. Getting the cedar, little woody, little leather.
It tastes like tobacco and
Earthy.
cedar and earthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's perfectly rolled too. I mean, the pack is just enough. It's not too dense.
Nope.
Yeah, it looks really, really nice.
A little light
Tight
colored
seams.
wrapper.
Yeah, light colored wrapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you feel the weight of it, like they're not overpacked,
Yeah,
and I kind of like that.
yeah. This is great.
Actually,
Okay, let's light this thing, boys. The H. Upmann No. 2. It's a 52 ring gauge by 6 1/8. Again, back to the Battle of the Pyramids. We've done several of these now. We only have one or two left, I think. And we'll see who the clear winner is in a few weeks. I have a feeling that this one's going to have a head start on the win tonight.
Yeah, I could smell the smoke coming off of the cigars. I'm lighting it. It's really good.
You can taste the age.
I was just going to say
Right.
that.
Not
Wow.
not disappointing right off the bat.
yeah.
Yeah,
You can
this is
taste
really-
it's got like a very deep earthy flavor,
Yeah.
and then it kind of transitions into some dessert flavors too as it moves along.
Yeah, that's really, really delicious on the light.
Awesome.
Right away, you know.
I can have.
There's almost like a peanut buttery thing that starts to happen too.
Yeah. So we have younger Upmanns that Gizmo and I bought. 2019.
And Senator too.
And
Yeah,
Senator.
we have Upmann Factory. I think they're 18s or 19s.
I'll tell you something. I could have an Upmann 2 every day.
So now Poobah, I think you said you have 14s, 15s, 17. You have a nice collection of these, right?
Yeah, I have it like staggered a little by year. So I have 14s, 15s, 16s, 17s, you know, just so I can, because I like the cigar,
Yeah.
you know, so.
So what do you find is kind of I don't want to say the peak age-wise, but where does it kind of get
I
really
think-
good for you?
I mean, for me, these are the oldest ones that I've got. I may have smoked a couple of maybe but these are pretty much the ones that I've had experience with, is from 14 on. So I think the 14s smoke really well. I think the I actually have some 17s that smoke very well. I mean, everyone shits on that year, but
Yeah. I love the 18s that I have, like Bam said, I think are smoking great, but they're very different than this. Not in
Yes.
flavor per se, but in the complexity and the elegance and the smoothness of the delivery.
Yeah, this to me it kind of tastes like a Sir Winston almost.
Oh yeah, great parallel.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
got
like
some of those
smooth, like
characteristics.
good parallel.
Yeah.
It has that
Yeah.
leathery thing too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like earthy leather and
So
like
the younger ones that Gizmo and Senator and I have, it's the same for me. The same flavor profile, just amped up.
Mm.
Where over the years, it's really mellowed out beautifully.
I love the finish in the cigar.
Yeah.
I love the
Yeah.
finish on it.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
got like this sweet finish. Once your palate just kind of adjusts to what's happening with it and you start to roll with it. To me, it has this finish on it that's got a little complexity, and I like that. It has a little this sweet but not too sweet finish on the end.
So Poobah, I agree. I think of complexity whenever I think of an Upmann 2 and like an elegant cigar. Like the flavors are so complex in this compared to some of the other torpedoes or bellicosos or whatever we want to call them, that I think the flavor profiles are more straightforward. It's maybe 2 or 3 notes where I get a lot in this cigar.
Yeah.
And I mean, many of you guys probably remember this. When I was in Greece on vacation, I'd obviously taken a ton of different Cubans. And to my complete surprise, I mean, the Upmann 2 has never been my favorite cigar. I love an Upmann 2, but it stole the show. Of every stick I brought on vacation with me, this surprised me the most, was just so incredibly satisfying.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so happy that the cigar like presented itself to you in a way where that was compelling, because that's what happens. You're like, oh my God, well, all of a sudden this thing, well, I'm thinking about it differently. And maybe it could be acclimation, it could be the box, it could be whatever, but all of a sudden it presents itself to you in a way that's compelling and cool. And that's what happened to me with the cigar. And I feel like it delivers, there's complexity to it. It delivers when you retrohale it. You can so easily can go through the nose, and you get a little bit of floral when you do that. And then off like the front of your tongue, you get like this sweetness when you want it. So there's a lot going on.
As I'm smoking this, like the Sir Winston, this cigar for me is demanding that I slow down, smoke it slower.
Definitely.
Just in the way that it's processing. It's like being processed by my
The
brain
way it's
and my
rolled
mouth.
too.
Yeah. It's so nice in the hand, and it's demanding me to smoke this properly.
So for me, I get the exact same thing, but I have a thought as to why this with age is a lot creamier. Like, as in it coats your mouth in a way that the 18s we have doesn't have that as much on the finish. And I think that's why I'm smoking this slower, because it just coats your mouth and it has like that like lingering finish that you just stop and appreciate exactly what you're experiencing. And then you've got to kind of wait till your next puff. So I agree. Like you are forced to take your time with this cigar in a really great way.
And I think that's the mark of a really elegant cigar.
This might be the best Upmann I've had.
Yeah, this is pretty incredible.
Of all the Vitolas?
I don't have a lot of Upmanns, but I mean I
Wow.
have some 54, 46, but with this kind of age on this, I mean I don't have many Sir Winstons, but I kind of relate this to aged
This is
Sir
very
Winston. It's
This
like
is very similar to that 13 Sir Winston I had a few months
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
It's feeling like that.
The finish is on the palate. It hangs and it's very pleasant.
Yeah.
Is a very pleasant finish on the palate, and you're just like, I like that. And it gets a little, there's a little caramel, there's a little like almost peanut butter aspect to it with all that earth underneath, just in the background. And you're just like, you know what? This is a good fucking cigar that deserves like
Absolutely.
my attention. And it's really, that's why I like them so much.
I mean, you hit the gold mine with these boxes for sure. I mean, this is really special.
And the way they're packed, like they're consistently this factory code, like they're not overpacked, but they're not underpacked.
Did this come out of a...
So you burn the open draw to you. I mean, you just kiss it and it combusts, and you're just like, wow, it's not packed so tight,
Dress box or a sliding lid box for these?
These only come in a dress box, unfortunately.
Yeah, only a dress box.
They only come in a dress box at 25. They've been around since I'm somewhere in the 1950s, it seems. They listed as a pre-1960 release. There have been other various versions of this. They've had a Reserva Cosecha in 2010. They've had, it obviously appears in the Selection Pyramides, which is, you can buy that from Habanos. It's the selection of 6 pyramids of the various global marcas. And they had a few other things, special releases. But this cigar, as it is, only comes in that dress box at 25.
See, like to me, this blows my hair back a little. Like
It's
to
doing
me,
it, man.
I know it's my, I'm a fan of this, and this is my thing. You guys don't have to agree with me, but
No,
to me, it blows my hair back a
cigar.
little in
Love the
terms of
cigar.
like what it delivers. It's I think it's at the maturation stage at this point where hopefully these other cigars will get to in a few more years where you're like, this is a special box.
Well, this is now, I use that word demanding of me. Like I have 2 or 3 boxes of those BRE 18 or 19. Like I'm going to save them to get them
Do
to this
you?
point. I do. You were on a need to know basis and you don't need to know.
I know now.
Yeah,
but
these-
it's the difference is night and day
You know what's
between
fu-
this and like an 18.
What's funny, like when I sent you, remember when I sent you the 18 BRE and I'm like, dude, you got to try this. We're loving it. You got to try this. I was like, fucking Poobah's shitting on this 18 and I'm smoking this now. I'm like, you were totally right. As far as just where this is at in its maturation.
Even the BRE 19s, those are really good. But this is
on another level.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's encouraging, my fear in having this cigar was that I'm not going to want to smoke any of the like 18 BRE, Upmanns we have. What encourages me is that the flavor profiles are similar, and I love them in both. But the finish and that creaminess that I've talked about, that only comes through on this in a way that you don't get as much on that. And that's what you expect, age to do. And it makes me want to even just kind of let those sit longer and see how they
absolutely.
develop.
It's a thing I think with the Upmann too that I've read anecdotally, and they also, it's not like they're super ubiquitous. I think the output on them is not. Certainly, probably they make less of these than like a Monty 2 or something, and they would always go up and come down. They'd be in stock, and then they'd never last long, and there was never tons of quantity that you'd see in them, because I think people do like to take these and tuck them away. I do. I believe that this is a cigar that sets up well for aging, maybe a little bit better than some other bellicosos, torpedoes, whatever you want to call them. So there's demand for them, and people like them. People like them who like them like them.
Anybody getting any nuttiness out of this?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, a
Right?
little
Yeah.
bit.
You taste that?
Yeah. Almost like a peanut, like I think Poobah mentioned, like a peanut buttery type of,
I
like
agree.
a nut, like it's very
Yeah,
sweet.
I do get a
Because
sweetness.
I
in
get
this.
I get
Yeah,
a
no doubt.
saltiness too, a little on the
Yes,
finish, which is why the
absolutely.
peanut butter analogy worked for me. Like, I
Absolutely.
think that's the note.
So I sent one of these to a mutual friend of ours, and as a gift from one of our social media group, and he wrote back, peanut butter bomb. And he was right. He was right, because it does taste like, he goes, peanut butter bomb.
So let me ask you a question,
'Cause
Poobah.
it's creamy and nutty.
How did we talked about this on the other episodes where we did the Lizard's favorite cigars. How did you find the Upmann 2? How did you find
Through our group,
just the specific age that worked? You just
through
bought
talking
stuff?
through talking to people, and just like, yeah, and just watching. I think I took a gamble on a box because people I respected were smoking these at the time that I discovered them. Because I feel like I was an Upmann fan, and maybe not everybody was a Upmann fan earlier, going a couple of years ago. And I just kind of stumbled upon them, and then I started to explore the marca a little bit more, and I just found out like I liked this. Put it this way, this is one of the first Upmanns I bought were number 2s. And then I liked it so much, I looked at the half Corona. Then I looked at, of course, it was like, well, dude, the Sir Winston's, right? And we all love those. and the half Coronas we all love. So there's a quality, I think, to the Marca it really fits into any humidor pretty well.
So I remember that evening pretty well. We had to kind of twist your arm to get those Sir Winstons you didn't want to part with, because they were. He was right. I mean, they were young, and we're like, Poobah, we need to try that cigar, having never
We
had
need to
one.
try it.
Yeah.
So he reluctantly brought a couple, and I think me and Giz tried the Sir Winstons, and it was a treat. But I think definitely, if they sit for like few years, they would.
Yeah, well, those are 17, so it's not the best year of the Sir Winston. And
I have a box I just got of the 2014 Sir Winstons.
You did.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep,
All right,
just got them.
next pod.
You must have paid a fortune for those.
They
That
were
had to
not
have
as
been a fortune.
they were not as bad as you'd think. They were not as bad as you'd think. There's 2020s on Bond Roberts going for way more than what I paid for the 2014s.
You got him a while back.
I got them about 2 months ago, but I got them from someone that I've done business with before, that I have a good relationship with, that we've all done business with before. But so we'll try them at some point.
That sounds like it's magnificent.
Yeah.
I'll tell
Speaking
you.
of I can't get over. We're about 3/4 of an inch into this thing. The burn is razor sharp.
Yeah, it is.
Beautiful ash on it.
Stacking-
and the
stacking
flavor is
dimes.
just phenomenal.
And going very well with this spirit tonight.
Yeah, let's talk about the cognac. So our first
Awesome.
cognac on the pod tonight. Senator and a few of the guys were talking about doing cognac, and we decided to do it tonight. I got to say, as with every other thing we've done on this pod, I have no idea what cognac even is, why it's here, but I know it tastes good. So I'm teeing it up.
Is that my cue?
That's your
Yes,
cue,
it
baby.
is.
Teach me.
So I've been wanting to do cognac for a while, just because I feel like it's a underappreciated and kind of misunderstood spirit, and myself included in that. Cognac is sort of known as like an older man's drink, something that's not as in style anymore. And my only experience with cognac has been, my dad loves every now and then to have a little Remy Martin with a cigar. And I remember trying once at their place a glass with a cigar, and I said, wow, this pairs shockingly well. And for us to start taking this dive into cognac, I wanted to start with stuff that is relatively ubiquitous and that is accessible in price. And I think we'll just kind of work our way through it. So in us doing this, I just did a little bit of homework, because I even couldn't really well distinguish a brandy versus a cognac and even the age statements and things like that. So just a little quick overview.
Even you couldn't distinguish?
No, this is one spirit that I've never really dove deep on. I mean, I've had a little bit of cognac here and there, but I've never known a whole lot about it. But this is something I want to start to appreciate, especially because in so many ways it was meant, it's intended to be one of the best pairings with a cigar. And so I feel like I've just not done my job as a cigar smoker, as a lizard, to not understand this spirit that is meant to pair so well. So just a quick overview. This is kind of like the whole whiskey scotch debate. All cognacs are brandies. Not all brandies are cognacs.
Oh, okay.
So sort of like all scotches are whiskeys, but not all whiskeys are scotches, right? So brandy, the broad category, is a distilled spirit made from fermented fruit or grapes. So it can be white grapes, red grapes. It can be apples. There's like apple brandy and all this
Blackberry
weird-
brandy.
Yeah, blackberry brandy.
Putting that in your back pocket, going to
Yeah.
the St. Patty's Day parade.
How about taking it into the algebra finals sophomore year?
You're
Hey, see-
taping that bottle behind the toilet in the high school bathroom.
Teach,
little
I need a
blackberry
drink.
brandy.
That's amazing. So brandy, there's not many rules, and so like the price point is insanely accessible, right? It's made from just about anything. Cognac, on the other hand, has to be made from white grapes, and it has to be grown in the Cognac region in France.
Oh, okay.
The Cognac region is in the southwest part of France, and the most common grape, like 90-something% of cognacs, are made from a grape called Uni Blanc, which is a white grape. I wouldn't even be able to adequately compare it to like white grapes that we're familiar with, like a Sauvignon Blanc or Chardonnay grape or something like that, because they obviously don't make a ton of wine with this. I've never heard of it outside of cognac. After this is distilled, it's blended and then aged. So very similar to a number of, scotches or bourbons or other whiskeys that we drink. And the age statements or the names on the bottles, you'll see VS, VSOP, XO, similar to our tequila conversation around a Blanco, Reposado, Añejo, indicate how much age it has. So a VS has at least 2 years of age in French oak. A VSOP, VS stands for very special. I have no idea where they came up with these names. VSOP is very superior old pale. That has at least 4 years in French oak. And an XO, which is extra old, has at least 6 years in French oak.
I always thought XO was a brand thing that some of these did. I had no idea that it was a marker of how aged the product is.
Yeah, I think that we have an age difference in this room that spans, between us, some of us more than a decade.
Let's just say significant.
I'm an XO.
So me and Rooster are definitely
We're
XO.
XO, baby. You guys are like
and Bam.
VPs.
I'm
bro.
always
Yes.
marginalized when it comes to the age statements.
Well, that's because you look so handsome.
Oh.
That's why. I mean,
I gotta call you Portnoy.
the great you got. I mean, look at his calves. His calves alone are fantastic.
He's got great calves.
He's got great calves.
Indeed.
Yeah. But I think that I think that we're having this. It's good that we're having this conversation because, and I'm really glad that Senator put this idea forward, because I recall during the cigar boom, let's call it the early 2000s, where there was a little bit of a cognac, like when cigars and cognac kind of going back to the old school. It's an old school drink. You just don't see people ordering this that often. And I think that other spirits kind of fell into favor, particularly Scotch, in terms of popularity and demand and things like that. So I really never was in the circle of acquaintance, and these are people, across different groups of friends who drank a lot of great stuff. We're never really into cognac, so I never really got exposed to good cognac, or had a friend who was like, "Dude, you got to try this." You know what I mean? And really drank it. And even friends who smoked cigars, I just hadn't. So I'm glad we're bringing it forward. I think a lot of people could revisit it and explore it a little bit more. And maybe, who knows, maybe there's some deals out there. Maybe it's not in demand.
No, there are. And I think this spirit may make a comeback. And I just say that because I've been wanting to do this since we started this podcast, but it's not something that stays top of mind for me.
Yeah.
And we were at our clubhouse the other day, and I saw a guy walk in with a bottle of cognac that he was sipping with his cigar. And I was like, wow, you don't even see that happen, right?
In lounges.
In lounges. You just see everyone bring scotch or bourbon or something like that. So it was just a good reminder for me, and a little bit about the cognac we're drinking. So this is Remy Martin VSOP, which I think is like the best entry into cognac. And I
So
say
you
that
said, just to clarify again, you said VSOP is kind of the middle grade?
exactly.
Okay.
So like a reposado in
Got it.
tequila.
Okay.
And I think it's the best entry point. And I say that because I've had a number of the VSOPs that are very common. Courvoisier, Remy Martin, there are obviously a number of others. And Remy has always stuck with me. Like, I remember years ago, Morton's Steakhouse, back when Morton's made amazing steaks, and now I can't really say that anymore. But when they did, if you were a really good customer at Morton's, you got like this special card they gave, and you would kind of whip this out, and it had all these benefits. And at the end of dinner, it didn't matter how many people you brought with you. You could have a table of 20. They would give a free after dinner drink for everyone at the table. And you could do scotch, cognac, whatever the case was. And I would occasionally get a Remy Martin, and I liked it. Like, I really enjoyed it.
Like in a snifter?
Yeah, exactly. And just really loved it. And so I thought this is a good entry point into the world of cognac, and just a little bit about Remy Martin and some of that.
Yeah. I know nothing about this. This is great.
Yeah, this is great.
I'll admit something. I've never had cognac until tonight.
I don't think I did. My dad
Not
may have
ever.
given me some at some point, but I think this is the first time I remember
So, like Senator,
having
I'd watch my dad drink cognac when I was a kid with a beer chaser. Yeah, that happened. And I've never tried it. I just thought it was an old guy's drink, and wasn't interested. But this is really, really good.
It's really good.
Really good.
Really nice.
Have you guys
And I bet you there are a bunch of people out there like, you're crazy. Cognac's awesome. But this
Yeah.
is just us. I mean, we not a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
There's also Armagnac.
Yeah.
What that went over my head. What is that? Is that like a video game
There's
console?
also-
from
there's
the,
also-
the early '80s or something?
No, it's
Activision?
it's like cognac. It's Armagnac is I think distilled once and cognac is distilled twice.
Oh wow.
Apparently. Yeah.
And I see
They're bo-
Armagnac
they're
must
bo-
be another region as well that would be
yeah.
made in.
Yeah.
But just a little bit on the history of some of the big cognac makers. So the oldest cognac brand is Martel, which folks may have heard of. Their history stretches back to 1715.
Wow.
Remy is pretty close. They're the second oldest, founded in 1724. So these go way, way back.
Here I'm thinking that like the Scotch stuff,
Yeah.
I know.
the Scotch makers have been around for 200 years. I'm like, wow, that's a long time. This
Yeah.
is 500
Yeah,
years.
the French. have
300
been
years,
ma-
excuse me.
This is France. The French have been making stuff forever, right?
Yeah, no, that's
crazy.
exactly
I mean,
right.
You know,
I mean, it's crazy. Like even a brand as ubiquitous as Hennessy, right? Like, and I associate Hennessy with like a nightclub drink. Like, that's why I could never even take cognac seriously. I think part of it was because of that. Hennessy was founded in 1765. I mean, like the history of these companies, brands, it's unbelievable. It really is. So, what this Remy Martin VSOP is made of? So essentially, it's from two crus, they call them, within the cognac region. It's Grand Champagne and Petite Champagne. And so when you look at the bottle,
so this is close to the Burgundy area of France, near Champagne, near Dijon.
no, so that's the other thing. I didn't know this. So this was a learning experience for me very recently. I assumed that this was like right near the Champagne region. It is not. The Champagne region is in the northeastern part of France. This is southwest. This is actually closer to Bordeaux and some of those regions.
Gotcha.
And so it's so funny. You see on the bottle of Remy, it says Cognac Fine Champagne. Now, I assume that meant that Champagne grapes were used or it was made in the Champagne region, but it's neither of those things. When it has the Fine Champagne designation, it means it's a blend from the Grand Champagne and Petite Champagne crus within the Cognac region.
Wow.
So it gets a little complicated, but the takeaway is they're totally separate from the Champagne region of France. It's not Champagne grapes. It's not from that region. It just so happens that a region within Cognac is called Grand Champagne and Petite Champagne.
Can I see that bottle?
Yeah.
Interesting.
This is a really interesting
the
bottle.
I've been to I'm not going to dwell on it, but I mean I've been to Burgundy. I've been to the Champagne region of France. What the crazy thing is how these fields are set up, and just to reinforce what Senator's point is that like across the street you could have, I can only really speak to Burgundy because that's the only place I've really been, but you could have like a village field and then you throw a stone and there's a Grand Cru field of grapes, and it could be the same winemaker could own those fields, or two different ones can own them. And I mean, it's like a stone's throw sometimes. It feels like they're so close together, and it's just so, and then the naming and everything it goes back so far that it doesn't make logical sense.
Well, that's it's funny you say that.
You
So
know.
I was even so confused. I'm like, why are there so many things called Champagne within France that are not from the Champagne region? Apparently, Champagne is just meant to essentially mean that it's like very clay-driven, very chalky soil, they say. So it's like very ripe for certain white grapes that produce cognac in that one part of France and champagne in another.
Right.
But there are a zillion different crus within France that have the word champagne in it that aren't even part of the Champagne region, which was very confusing for me, and I feel like for most people.
Yeah, I mean, when you go back hundreds of years when all these designations were made, it's not like they had an internet where they're like, we're going to coordinate, and I'm going to call that guy up there, and we're going to coordinate what we call this stuff, dude. These people didn't even talk to each other. You got to drive like 27 days to get about horseback to talk to some guy. It's true.
And the other thing on Remy Martin, I think everyone, even if you've never had cognac, has everyone heard of the bottle Louis XIV?
Yes.
Yeah,
This
it's
is like
the
a
biggest thing
famous
ever.
baller bottle. If
Yeah,
you've
the
got a bottle
baller.
of that, it goes for $4 or $5 grand a bottle. Like
Yeah.
you can go on Total Wine right now. It's going to be 4,000.
Dan
something.
Blazerian chugs
And
that.
There you go. And that's made by Remy Martin. And so like they make some really, really high end stuff.
So why didn't we start there tonight, Senator?
Put the investment in.
He's got stairs, air conditioning units,
Plumbing,
plumbing. I mean,
new cement.
He's
got
got
a lot of capex going on right now.
I got a question. So this is in a 375.
Yes, I bought a half bottle.
Okay, so how much is?
So a 750 is $50,
Okay,
and this is half that.
got it. Okay.
I mean, slightly more, like
so
20.
then, how much is the VS entry
That's a
level?
good question.
Is it?
It's
I
probably like 25
20
to 30.
okay,
So how much is that split?
$25 for the
Yeah.
375.
So like every bar, you should just put that in and just have it. You have some guests and
Absolutely.
you go on, like after the bad couples dinner. Do you know what I mean? Like where you're like, oh my God, I got to go on a couples dinner. And you go out with a couple from town and
the wife set it up.
Yeah, the wife sets it up, and there's the conversation in the car afterwards where they're like, how do you think that went? Mark is really nice. But you think, why did you say that? And then they do the audit.
You embarrassed me.
Why did you say that when he was ordering and then you said that? And then, why did you say who doesn't like black olives or whatever? Like, who doesn't like that? And you get reamed out. And then afterwards you come to the house and you pour a little Remy Martin for the guy.
I gotta say,
It's like confirming you really don't want him back again.
Yeah.
which is 9 times out of 10. Let's be real.
No,
I mean,
but you could, have a nice little bonding moment with it.
So it does drink like a whiskey. Excuse me, I almost said bourbon, but it's very obviously very fruit forward.
It is.
So
but,
it is.
Yeah.
But the thing why I like this, because I'm not a fan of very sweet things. That's why I always will prefer Scotch to bourbon. I think this drinks more like a Scotch in like the Balvenie Macallan family, right? Not anything peated.
No.
Than it does a bourbon. Like this is not. It finishes dry. That's
Yeah.
what I like about.
Well,
this.
yeah, it
Like,
finishes
you get
totally.
the fruit, the dried fruit up front, and it finishes dry.
It does finish nice and dry.
it's
Can you put a
it's
little bit more in my
absolutely
cup?
delicious.
Yeah, and actually pour
delicious.
the next one neat because
Neat,
when
yeah.
we poured this, when I took a sip of this before any ice had melted, I thought it was perfect. And as the ice melted and opened it up, I liked some of the notes I was getting, but I think I prefer this just neat.
Yeah, pass that bottle around, please.
You got it.
Do you usually put ice in cognac? I've never.
I mean, most purists would not,
Would not,
but
right?
some do. You can.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of like the same thing. We had Ricky on to talk about tequila, right?
Yep.
And for him, he'll never put ice in a tequila, but obviously there are
Right.
tons of us that do. So
Yeah.
it's personal preference, but a true connoisseur of that spirit would advise against it.
By the way, speaking of
Yeah,
Ricky,
and
I love sending text messages to Ricky with a glass of Don Julio full of ice, and his head just explodes. Oh, it's the greatest. I do it every
Well,
time.
Yeah. That was the Ricky Camacho, the tequila episode. I will say I did listen to it, and take a listen if you're out there. Take a listen to that episode because it's good. It's a good episode.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
What about in regard to?
When I said about Ricky, you were about to say something.
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember what that was. I lost my train of thought. I guess.
It's all good.
Oh, this is better neat.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it neat in a second.
It's
It's
really
way
good.
better neat. I think that's probably the way you're supposed to drink it, and then it does finish dry. I mean,
I think it drinks very nicely with this cigar.
It does.
yeah.
It's pairing up perfectly with this. So we're about halfway through this now. I'm finding this to pick up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's still really smooth and elegant, but it's really starting to take me on a journey here.
It's a fabulous cigar.
Yeah.
It's the perfect cigar to do with cognac in the sense that I always associated Upmann 2 with just like an elegant cigar.
Yeah.
And I just feel like cognac if there's one thing that cognac's known for, it's being a very elegant spirit. And I think the pairing works extremely well.
What's funny about cognac is we touched on it briefly, but I've always seen it and I've ignored it. I've seen it ignored. I mean, it's buried on the right-hand page all the way at the bottom of any spirit or wine list that you get at a restaurant. I've never seen anyone order it. I've never been at a restaurant when anybody orders it. It just seems like it kind of sits there.
Yeah,
So I think
before
it's usually like an after dinner.
yeah, and
you
Poobah
know,
said it earlier. It's not in vogue, right? Unless you know it.
Right.
seems. Yeah.
And honestly, for me, Hennessy ruined cognac for me in the sense that when you
Oh,
would
yeah.
just see Hennessy like become this nightclub drink,
Yeah.
you would never see someone in a nightclub order like, bottles of single malt Scott like that. You're not going clubbing to drink like, fine spirits.
You don't associate it with a moment where you're having a cigar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just wrote it off. I just said like,
Me
this is
too.
not a serious spirit anymore. And I'm glad we're giving this a shot because I could very easily see myself drinking more of this. with
Dude,
this
it
cigar.
is so drinkable. There's zero bite to it.
Yep.
It's delicious. It's tasty. It's fantastic.
I agree, Ben.
ridiculous.
100%. And you know what? It goes great. Like that little split, you throw that in your locker at the cigar lounge.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice thing to have around in a certain spot.
I'm going to give it to my son before his final exams.
Yeah, you should. You should. But it's like swing lube, It's like when you're on the golf course,
Hey,
just
Junior.
loosen them up. Swing lube, Hey, son, take a couple shots.
There you go.
Take a couple shots of Remy. Go
That's
in and knock that final dead. You
That's
kill
it.
the nerves.
Pagoda, what do you think of the cigar?
For me, I was just zoning. I was thinking about it, but really enjoying it. I think what I really like about it is, I think like Poobah mentioned it earlier, is that you get this flavor in your mouth. It somewhat coats your mouth, and it's kind of lingers, and I've really been enjoying that. And it's very mild and flavorful.
And as someone who likes a little more oomph, is that something you appreciate or you don't love? Like,
No,
where does it sit for you? Kind of in.
So I've really started enjoying a lot of the Cubans, as you guys know, and like even you consider something like Ras, where you have the Cuban twang, as per se. I think I've started to just really enjoy that kind of a flavor. So it's not something I go and pick up every day, but I can tell you the other day I was smoking Cubans out on my deck when it was not windy and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and it was sunny, and I think I'm more likely to put them more in the afternoon. I know this is supposed to be like a medium bodied. It doesn't give me that, like one could say it's really refined for my taste.
Well, I think though, when Pagoda says that, I just think about the comparison between this Upmann at 2014,
Yeah.
and the Upmanns that we have at 2018, and I think maybe we have a 19 box too.
Yeah, 18s or
the
19s. I have 21s as well.
Okay, and I just think the 18s and 19s have a bit more
Umph.
and strength to them a
That's
little.
exactly
and,
right.
And I think maybe
Exactly
for
right.
Pagoda's palate in particular,
Yeah.
he may actually prefer that.
Mm-hmm.
I would normally gravitate toward that, but this is like blowing me away. That I
Yeah.
would
Yeah,
take
this is superb.
The rough edges are off. Have been
Yeah.
This is a polished stone.
It
Oh,
is.
yeah.
You know what I mean? As
It is.
opposed to something with some rough edges on it. There are no rough edges on the cigar.
But-
It's really to me, this embodies what I would call, you would say, I would call it full flavor.
Yep.
I would call it full body medium cigar. It's medium in strength, but full bodied in flavor to me. I think this is a full body, full flavor, like full bodied. It's got body to it. It's got,
So
it coats your mouth. The finish is long, and it's
that combination
complex.
I get in the younger Upmann for me personally. What I'm getting now is a sophisticated, smooth, and Senator, you said it earlier, creaminess that I don't get in the early Upmanns.
Well, that's what I call body.
yeah.
I mean,
but
that's what I call
I
body.
would
Yeah.
still say on the body of the cigar, I would say medium full. I would not say
Agreed.
full. And
No,
I
no,
just
no.
say that because, like, if I think of like a full-bodied cigar that's delivered very smoothly, like we lit up a Padron 50th the other night.
Oh,
for Poobah's
okay.
50th.
Well, if we're going
That's
there,
like
yeah,
full
that's
body.
okay.
This is
yeah.
medium full.
Sure.
for me.
Yeah, okay. I'll temper that. You're right. I mean, I'm thinking really kind of more in the Cuban realm.
I've got a question.
For a Cuban, I think it's got a lot of body.
Oh,
Totally.
yeah. Oh, fuck
Solidly medium full to me.
Absolutely.
Right, medium
I think
full.
most are medium.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, the saltiness on this is getting stronger and stronger. I am loving that.
What kind of salt is it for you?
It's like that Cuban twang.
It is.
The twangy.
It's unbelievable.
Floral salt. I don't
You,
I don't
in
know
the
how to
second
describe it.
half, Bam's exactly
Yeah.
right. It's like exploded for me. Like
Yeah.
this is very twangy now, and I
Yeah.
love that.
Yep. And Pagoda just said it, a hint of floral and ramp up in saltiness. It's fantastic.
Through the nose, it gets floral, particularly in the beginning.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's very enjoyable. Please don't get me wrong. It's just
But that's why I asked the
don't
question.
recant.
yeah. No, thank you.
That's why I asked
Yeah.
the question, because I'm, the other five of us, I kind of knew, I kind of know where it kind of falls for us. But for you, I think you're a little bit of an outlier, which is a compliment
Yeah.
in that your palate's different than ours, and I think that's a good thing. So I'm curious how this hits a palate like yours. You know,
No, absolutely. I think I'll definitely get a box of these and have it around because I've really, really enjoyed it. It's not
Yeah.
one of those things where, it's blown my mind away, for some of you.
yeah, like I want to find a box of these immediately.
Can you Venmo Poobah like $1,400?
1,400 rupees, yes. It's coming right away.
That'll get you the band.
Hey, listen, we've got to start somewhere. I'll begin with the band.
Upmann 2s of any age are hard to find right now.
Yeah,
They really are.
People like them. I mean, they're popular for these reasons.
Yeah.
I've started to see, very recently, some of the younger ones pop up, and I've like hesitated because I'm not sure what to expect. But Giz, you said that you've got a 21 box, and they're good.
I haven't smoked one.
Oh, okay.
Because I know, based on what Poobah has said about the cigar, that it definitely needs some time. I have the 18s and 19s. I pick the P2s and the Monty 2s far more frequently just because of scarcity. I don't see them as much.
You're right.
I have a couple PSP boxes of these coming from FOH that I'm
Wow.
going to just sit on.
21s?
Yeah, they're 21s. They're young.
Okay.
But I'm just like, I've
Good
almost
code.
kind of
Good code.
blindly, just because I trust Poobah's palate and how what he's taught, turned me on to with Upmann, especially with the Winston and some of the other cigars. But I've kind of blindly just chased that. So when I see them come up, I've just kind of been collecting them.
Yeah.
And the 18s have blown my mind. And this is
18s are awesome.
this is superb.
Yeah.
What's the oldest Upmann 2s out there? Like, when was it introduced?
It came out, it was in the
50s.
50s, but you can find, they're as old as the Monty 2s.
They are.
Yeah. I don't think they've been as, revered or chased, a Monty 2 is certainly.
I've seen some like 1970s Monty 2s, like the guys smoke, but I've
Yeah.
never seen an Upmann
Mm.
go that far back.
Yeah,
So-
they've been around a long time.
It's a nice representation of the marca, in my view.
It is.
It's like a nice representation of it. I feel like it's kind of like when you go through and you talk about like I like the Mag 50. Not everyone loves it. I like it. The Mag 46, but this is like a departure from that. But to me, the kind of dessert flavors that are reflected in this and some of the things we talked about that are adjacent to the Sir Winston and that kind of flavor profile to me says H. Upmann. It's
I
like it
think
kind of
this represents the brand,
the
yeah.
marca really well.
But the thing that frustrates me about the fact that they call Sir Winston a regular production cigar is I think that's an unfair thing to say. I know they make it everyone. It just doesn't come up a lot. It's a very pricey cigar. It's hard to find.
Yeah.
This to me as a regular production cigar that you can get. This is as it sits right now in our hand. This is some of the best that Upmann has to offer.
Some of the best. I mean, and when you think about the Anahados, the 2011
we didn't
Robusto
talk about that. That's a
Anahados,
great point.
when you think
Fantastic.
about that
Fantastic.
cigar and what that delivers, and that's kind of it's a cousin to this,
Mhm.
that smoothness and that creaminess and that delicious delivery, to me, like that cigar, this cigar, and how some of these Upmanns with age up create kind of something really nice.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Anahados for a second that you brought up, because that I can't believe none of us
Because
have
I
thought
mean,
about.
that's such a great cigar.
It's an
amazing.
It's a
incredible.
magnificent cigar.
It's an incredible cigar.
So
incredible cigar.
We got a couple of us. I was late to the party, but a couple of us now ended up with 2011 boxes of H. Upmann Royal Robustos with the Anahados label on them, which is a questionable marketing thing that Habanos did, where they put out aged cigars later. So we ended up with 2011s, and these cigars are just
Unbelievable.
They're unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable Robusto.
They're on the same level as this, maybe
Incredible.
better, maybe even better.
I got that.
I agree with you. I agree with Poobah.
They're really good. They're
Yeah.
close.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
that on Blind Faith. There was a auction that some of us were partaking in, and that was on there. And there were a number of other Anahados cigars. And I had heard so much about how the Anahados line is kind of a bunch of bullshit, that they say that they're aged at least 4 or 5 years, but you have some of these smokes and they really don't
And
taste
some
it.
disappoint.
Some
don't.
disappoint.
Yeah.
And so I was just quickly trying to find if there was any of in the Anahados line that were worthwhile. And all the marcas have, there's Partagas, there's Upmann, there's Monty, a ton of them make
Romeo.
Romeo.
Yep.
And what I was seeing consistently on forums was that guys were saying that their favorite one was the Upmann Anahado. So on Blind Faith, I said, okay, I'll just bid on, 5 of these. And I had gotten them. And I was shocked how much I liked this cigar, despite all the hate that's out there for the Anahados line. And I had ordered a box that popped up on iHave that I had no idea what year.
Yeah.
And I happened to get this box, and it's got the crazy health sticker on the back, and I ripped that off, and it's 2011 underneath there, the same as I had bought in that auction. And I remember we were at one of our lounges, and I think I gave one to Giz
and Poobah, right?
and Poobah.
the 3 of us were there. The
And-
North Lounge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think right on the spot, you ordered a box. I mean,
I ordered
they're
it immediately.
Incredible.
Well, yeah, I want to say, I can't say for sure, but almost like we had ordered them at the same time, and I paid
My
slightly
second
more.
box. My second
was that
box
the
we did,
second
yeah.
box? But the first one we had was with you, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those were really. I mean, those were sourced from the same place by who I got it from anyway. But and then you were able to find that, which was and grab that box, which is great.
And if you remember, I smoked it without ashing it.
That's right.
Once.
We have a photo of that.
Remember that?
Giz
yeah,
didn't
that
ash
was
it a
that was
single
at the
time.
North Lounge.
I
was
smoked
there
the
for
whole
that.
thing down without ashing it until it went out. Like
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
smoked it all the way
Yeah,
down.
very good. So, and it has the similar characteristics, right? You can taste it. You can another really great representation.
I got to say though that this cigar that we have in our hand, you said the Robusto may be better than this. I think this to me beats the Robusto for me.
It's a
It
bigger
does.
story, and
It does.
yeah.
We'll have to revisit the.
Yeah, we should do that on the pod at some point.
We should.
Also, what's really good is the Propios.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Propios are really
that,
good.
so
Yeah.
Was
Talk-
that an EL?
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
Yeah.
Roosters
They
had
are
that
really
cigar.
good.
I've had that cigar.
I've had the cigar.
Okay.
Yes.
When Poobah said full body before, that's full
That's
body.
full body.
Yeah.
That thing
that's full
smokes like a
body.
New World cigar. I couldn't believe how much flavor.
But it was
had.
great. It was great.
Oh yeah.
He gave me one.
Because I got a box of those and the Anahados at the same time. I know the ELs, the Propios were a little bit more, but still, nothing compared to like the prices right now.
By the way, for the
It's-
listener, when we say EL, we're saying edition limitada, limited edition from Habanos. So that's what we mean when
And
we
what
say
year were those? Like
2018.
2018?
Yeah.
2018.
2018.
That's right.
Those will get better.
Yeah. I have a couple
Guaranteed.
of those sitting. I haven't touched them since the first time we smoked them. It was very good though.
Yeah.
And then we talked about one of our favorite cigars collectively. I know a lot of us smoke it at the end of a smoking session. Is the half Corona?
Oh, dude.
I mean,
Oh, love
Dude.
those.
I mean,
I
all of
will-
us and
I can-
everybody.
We can never get enough of those.
I will
know-
never forget when we
Never
put
get
those
enough.
up together. We were at Poobah's house. We, let's just say, enjoyed ourselves quite a bit.
One of those summer nights.
And it's the very end of the night. This was it was a
It
ridiculous.
was at 3 o'clock in
yeah,
the morning.
at
Yeah,
this
it was
point-
like 2 or 3.
It was
At this point-
2:48. Actually,
At this point, it's like 2 something in the morning.
I think there were only 3 of us left that night.
There was. It was me, Bam, and Poobah, I think, at that point.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And I think Pagoda had left.
Giz got
And-
mad at us that day.
He did. He wasn't there.
Bastards.
Well, for many other reasons.
I must have gone to bed because I'm extra old.
You were taking a nap.
I'm saying that.
But I needed just like a small little stick. And in that same auction that I had bought the Upmann Anahados, I had gotten these little half Coronas. None of us had it at that point because I had asked if anyone knew if they were good. No one had ever tried them.
So from our guy down south, I bought because go ahead after your
Well, yeah,
story
yeah. No,
because of
this
your
happened-
story.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
and,
my
and I
God.
have a bone to pick. So let's get there,
Dude,
Let's get there.
I couldn't help myself.
So I light this stick up, and I'm sitting there gushing about how good this cigar. I mean, this thing is so small. I couldn't believe the flavor out of this little Cuban cigar, and I'm just sitting there. The only thing you can question at that point is like I've had plenty to drink. Either it's the alcohol that I think this cigar is that good, or it's really that good. And maybe I had one extra with me, and I think I gave it to Bam that night.
Yes, you did.
And Bam had the exact same reaction. Holy shit, this is one of the best short smokes I've ever had. Now, the problem with me sharing that cigar with Bam was that he went to the same source I bought them from, and he cleared them out, and they were sold out. So when I messaged the guy, he said, someone just bought all of them, and I wonder who that was.
That's
It was
correct.
Bam.
To be fair,
And
to
by
be
the
fair.
way, it's inappropriate, and not all is fair in love and cigars.
Wow.
So
No, but to be fair,
it's
he
not.
did
It's
share
not.
them.
He
did
did.
share them.
Of course, he shared them, but still,
You know,
I
that's
mean,
kind of
you know.
rare to the share. But he did share those.
Yeah, the sniper, stop sniping, or whatever the little cartoon character
I've
is.
learned my lesson. I've learned my lesson.
No, I remember. No, thank you, Bam, for introducing me to that. I remember that night we were once again at the bar up north, and it was just fantastic. And it's actually become one of my favorite.
Yeah, you smoke a lot of those.
Yeah, like end of night smokes. There's nothing better. Maybe there are a couple of others which are, a few percentages below, but that is
It's a
fantastic.
great stick. I've been smoking a lot of these short smokes lately.
Like the
Like
petite
just the
Coronas
smoke-
and stuff.
Well, like I had a D6 this morning. Phenomenal stick. Great
Love
stick.
it.
You
Love
know, driving to work or whatever. D6, short to punch. D5, the Portuguese
Portuguese short?
Coronas, and then the Portuguese short. I mean, and then the PLPCs.
Yep.
Poor Laranaga that we did.
Yeah, we just did that, yeah.
Great. I mean, so much flavor.
Yeah.
You only have about half an hour to smoke. They're awesome.
I'm
They're great.
I'm very into the D6, and I'm
love the
I'm very
D6.
into the
Yeah.
D6 because it's like the size of a half Corona, but a little bit larger ring gauge.
Yep.
Let me tell you something, man. I like snuck one of those in real quick, and I was super like sad. I mean, you're like, I wish it was a
It's
D4, and I'd want to smoke more of it, but it's super happy. I
Can
got
I
an
make
aged
a-
box. They're good.
Can I make a request?
Yeah.
So I've had a D6 many years ago that I just didn't fall in love with, and I've had the D5,
It's
and
just
I
a
don't
D-
love the D5, and the D4 obviously I'm obsessed with. We need to do the D6.
I think we
Well,
should do.
I have the
D6.
D6.
Yeah.
I think we should do the short smoke special when we start coming into the
In
the
the
winter.
All right, then
We'll
I
do
need
the
to-
D6
I mean,
and the half Corona.
then
My
I need to try
D6s
one
are-
of
And the
these before
Papa's
that.
Fritas.
But
I
my
just say that
D6s are
because-
old as fuck. I think they're like maybe
see.
2016
Oh,
or
wow.
15.
Wow.
Or
I
they're a
want
little
to try.
old.
I want to try a younger one only because as inventory obviously is so limited right now.
Yeah.
The one thing I consistently see on a lot of
Yeah,
sites is the
small
D6,
stuff.
and
Yeah.
I'm nervous to order it because I'm not sure that I'm going to like
Nah,
it.
do it.
So
You'll
I
like
would
it.
love to try.
I'll
And the
open you one.
presentation's so cool, dude. It's like it's a 20 count box, and it's like, but it's the size of the height of a 10 count
I
box,
see.
and it's just 10 and 10, and you can slide it in your tower.
That's so cool.
I love it.
Real sneaky, like, jigsaw puzzle wise. You know what I mean? Because I'm out of room. So is everybody else. I
what
know
else
you
is-
guys are.
What else is good? The Monty Petite Edmundos.
Oh yeah.
I
we
think
had
I have
those.
one of those.
Oh,
with me
those are
tonight.
great. And Senator shits on those like a
I do.
fucking lunatic.
I do.
And it's
I
fucking
do.
crazy. It's a good cigar. Like just buy one box and have a box. They're
All right.
good.
He's-
Ladies and
he's
gentlemen,
right. I
He
love
someone's,
shits on him. He poops.
someone's
him.
holding court tonight.
But he does. He shits on him. Oh, that cigar sucks.
I have one with me.
Look, I've had several mediocre Petite Edmundos. I was at Giz's
pretty
place
good cigar.
once, and he gave me one, and that was the best one I had had. But the problem for me, this is the same problem I have with the D5, and I hope I'm not going to have with the D6. The D5 is just not as good as a D4, and for me, like a Petite Edmundo
No.
is not nearly as flavor. Like this, the flavor is not as satisfying as like a Monty 2. So or even like a Monty, any of like the 3, the 4 that like have more flavor. So
They're not.
it just
they're
has to hold up flavor wise to the rest of the market.
I hear you, bro, but they're utilitarian to a certain degree. To me, like it gives me a D5 or a D6 gives me like that D4, like that kind of D4 flavor that you'd want, and just like a small package. I don't think that those little cigars can really. They don't have time to develop, and like they're so small, they're over when they're over. You're smoking a D6, dude. In like 22 minutes, bro, the thing's fucking gone. For real, 23, 4, 5 minutes, that thing's over.
Yeah, the D6 is good.
It's
I wanna
good.
Try this.
I think
I
you would
trust.
like it.
I
Yeah.
trust that that's got to be better because the D5 I'm not. I'm
So,
not high
so
on.
I prefer
Okay.
the D6 over the Monte Petit Edmundo.
Okay, that's good to
Well,
hear.
yes, I would
Yeah,
say
right.
that too.
So,
yeah,
and then the short dip punch, of course. I mean, that's
That's a great.
but that's a
cigar.
real cigar, though.
Speaking
Yeah.
of peanut butter bomb,
it's also
Yeah.
short though, right? I mean,
It's
Yeah,
a
it's
little
like
shorter,
It's a short robusto.
it's a little longer than a D6,
but extremely,
this-
extremely flavorful.
Yeah.
very.
That is a
flavorful.
peanut
That's
butter
a
bomb.
peanut butter bomb.
Absolutely.
That's a good cigar.
And-
Oh, it's an excellent
That's
cigar.
the 10 count, the
It's
short
delicious.
punch to punch.
Yes.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, delicious.
But that's closer to a Robusto, in my opinion.
Kind
That's,
of-
That's a
he's
like
right.
a
It
Hermoso.
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a short
It's a
robusto.
Hermoso, I
Yeah.
believe.
Right.
Poobah's right. Yeah.
We did a pod on that, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
We did
Yeah. I think we did.
we did.
the short to punch.
Yeah.
No,
I thought we did the punch.
Punch,
No,
punch. We did.
I
we
think
didn't do
I think
short. We didn't do short
We didn't. I could
No.
have sworn
punch
we
to
did.
punch.
That is
A lot of
absolutely.
people fucking love that cigar. I'm
It's
telling
pod.
you.
I think it's pod worthy.
Yes, we didn't do
Oh,
the short
definitely.
to punch.
Am I being a dummy?
Yeah, I don't think we did it. We did the punch.
I think
I
you're
know we
right.
did the punch. I thought
We did not do the
Maybe
short
we
to
didn't.
punch. We did
Absolutely
not.
pod
You are
worthy.
correct.
Okay.
We
There
should
you
do
go.
that one. Everyone's got those too.
Yeah, yeah.
I have some.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but I have a handful.
Yeah.
That's a great stick.
It is.
I've been smoking a lot of those lately.
Fucking great.
Have you?
Yeah.
Are they out there?
Not
Yeah,
now.
you can get the D6, I think.
No, I thought you
yeah.
meant the. I thought you
Short
meant
to
the
punch?
short to punch.
Oh, short to
I haven't
punch.
They
I
were
haven't
for a
seen them.
while, and now
I-
not so much.
I haven't seen them in a
been
while.
looking.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope, I haven't seen them in a while.
The problem now is like, when your tower, like you have so many boxes like back and forth, you don't know where where the box is. Like you kind of forget what you have. It's like you
that,
just
that makes me want to ask
Oh,
Bam.
I know.
I knew that was going to happen.
Bam, are you
No
having this
shit.
problem?
Not yet.
Senator doesn't have it because he organizes.
Oh, I'm
his
sure.
whole
I'm
fucking
sure he's
thing.
got an Excel
It's
spreadsheet.
like really organized, and like a fucking robot comes out is like that cigar is gone now.
When
And it's like all of a sudden it computes in his brain. Like me, I just shove all the fucking boxes.
when I get to stocking my tower,
Is it in your house yet?
No. I've been too busy. I've really been busy. But here's the thing. I plan on creating a manifest. So I'll know what's on each shelf and I'll know where to go. You have to have a manifest.
It's lunacy. The whole thing's
I
lunacy.
love
Just
when-
put the
I love
boxes
when
in.
Bam-
This is a guy who doesn't have a tower yet.
Can we just set this up? I love when Bam says, I plan on
Jesus.
having a manifest. That means he's going to say, hey, Siri, where are my Upmann twos? That's exactly what that means.
That's right.
Fucking manifest, dude.
But you end up like moving boxes around. Something's on the bottom, you want to bring it up. What's on the
I
top?
can't.
you wanna
Right,
bring it
exactly.
down.
My thing's like a
Rooster,
Tetris
Rooster.
thing. I can't organize by brand.
I'm going to impress
I have to
you.
organize by box size.
I'll impress you with my organization.
Okay.
I hear Siri.
Someone's Siri, I think, went off when I said, hey, Siri.
So I just I had the Remy neat, by the way. I very much preferred it without the ice cube. It's really nice neat.
It's insane how good it is.
Really good. It's pairing perfectly with the cigar. I'm curious how this is going to rate.
For me, it's going to be very high.
awesome.
Yeah.
No
You guys
doubt.
ready to do it? Do the formal liquor rating?
Yeah.
All right, Bam, you're up.
I'm on my third glass.
Okay.
Wow, look
And
at that.
I'll be honest, it has, like I said earlier, there's no bite. It's delicious. It's tasty. It's so easy to drink. I can go through that bottle alone, no problem. I'm giving it a 9.
Excellent. Pagoda.
Yeah, I'm just having a need right now. I think for me it's a 7.
Okay.
Ooh, wow.
Senator.
Wow.
All right. Well, that makes my decision easy. I was going between an 8 and a 9. I got to balance this out. There's no way I believe this is deserving of a 7. I'm going to, because of its price point that I have to factor in, because I'm between an 8 and a 9, right? Because I think what it delivers for its price point is really, really enjoyable. Like I have not one major complaint with this spirit at all. So I'm going to give it a 9.
My man.
Excellent. I'm also going to give it a 9. I'm really enjoying it. Poobah.
I'm going to give it an 8 only because, and I'm just tempering it because I just don't have I don't have enough of a foundational level of knowledge or experience with this. So it was very, very good. I'm just not sure. As we explore more of these, I just want to give myself a little bit of room. So I'm hedging
That's
a little
fair.
bit.
That's fair.
So I'm going to give it an 8 only because I'm assuming I feel like I really liked it. I really thought it was great. I think I'll buy some, but I'm sure there's a 9 out there that'll give me some upward. There's a place to go that's
Sure.
even more refined. So I would give it an 8.
So, boys, the composite lizard score on the Remy Martin VSOP is an 8.4.
Nice score.
Great
Perfect
score for that.
Very
Perfect.
nice
That's
score.
a perfect score for that.
It's an elite score.
Perfect.
I mean, it could be a 9 for me later.
Yeah, sure. But I think an 8.4 is very fair for what that is. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, and I would even to use a cigar analogy. I think the Padron Exclusivo, that's obviously like our favorite everyday stick, and that's a cigar I think a lot of us have given a 9 to.
Yeah.
And it's not to say, well, for me it's one of the greatest of all time, but it's not to say for everyone that that's one of the greatest cigars of all time. But for its price point, what that delivers, it's very hard to beat. And I almost view this in a similar vein. It's not to say that this is one of the greatest cognacs out there, but at its price point, this is like what it delivers is just so tremendous that I think where it's being rewarded.
Totally agree.
Yeah, really nice.
So, unfortunately, boys, we're coming to the end
Of this
of the
delicious
H.
cigar.
Upmann number 2. I have really, really enjoyed this cigar tonight.
I mean, I don't want this to end.
I know.
I mean, it's so good, right?
It's unbelievable.
What's
Really
funny is
good.
now I'm still getting the salty twang, and I'm getting a little coffee now.
Yeah, like all those rough edges. I mean, I'm not selling
I
it.
haven't
I'm
had
just
a
saying,
rough edge. There's
those
no fucking
there's
rough
no
edges.
rough edges down the
No.
stretch, right? You smoke
Yeah.
it to the end, and it's just
I
beautiful.
want to see you smoke it to the end.
It is. I mean, it's done.
You?
It's-
My man, look at that. Now
Wow.
that
when do I finish
Wow,
first?
Never.
Poobah
Never.
finishing first.
Never.
Well,
Wow.
because this is my jam.
All right. Like to see that.
Really good stick, and thank you for bringing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for
Unbelievable.
Really appreciate it.
Rooster. Thank you, everybody, all the lizards. Your generosity. Everyone comes into boxes. Everyone has great sticks in this room. And when this stick came up, I said, what should I? How can you hold these back? And I think part of cigar smoking that I think is important. And there's more ROI. I would just say to the listener out there, there's more ROI in sharing cigars, particularly special cigars. It's celebratory. If you smoke them in a vacuum, yeah, you'll enjoy it and it'll be nice. But you get much more ROI when you share special cigars with special people. I recommend everybody do that. And I think most people do who are in this hobby.
Absolutely.
You know,
Well said.
It's just, it makes it that much better.
So, you guys ready to do the formal lizard rating on this thing?
Yeah.
Rooster, you're up.
I saw 2 eyebrow raises from Rooster before he could even utter a word.
I mean, it's hard because this is the best Upmann I've had. I mean, this is better than the young Sir Winston that we had.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, it's phenomenal steak. I'm gonna give it a 10.
Awesome.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Love it.
Wow.
I love this steak.
Poobah.
Really.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's a 10 for me.
I knew
It delivers there on everything that it's supposed to deliver
I mean,
on. I
it's
can't knock
balanced.
it on anything.
it's incredible.
Balanced, complex, smooth. everything.
I knew an inch in that this was a 10 for me, and if I could give it 11, I would. I love this cigar. Senator.
He's a 9.
This is tough. This is tough.
It's-
This is tough. And this is a good decision to make because it's a 9 or a 10. There's
Right.
It's
That's
not even
exactly
a
right.
thought in my
Yeah.
mind that it's anything lower
Exactly
than
right.
that.
Yeah.
And what's where I'm leaning closer to 10 when Poobah said it delivers on everything it's supposed to deliver on. I can't find a flaw in this cigar. The only reason I hold back a little bit on the 10 is because there are still other sticks that the flavor profile, right? So this delivers what it's intended to deliver, gets me more where like I have to have it like all the time. I want these. There's no doubt about that. I have 2 boxes of these. I just don't know that I want it every single day in the way that I'm like obsessed with like, certain D4s or even other sticks. So I am gonna give this
Before you give that rating, I just want to say.
He's advocating.
Oh boy.
No, I mean, I'm just making.
No,
a
help
point.
me out. This is good.
I'm just making a point that this Upmann steak with this box code rated just based upon this steak, not the boxes that you have. This is a 2014 LUB box code.
We have
which I think
salesmanship
it's a
going
very,
on here.
Very elite box code, and
You should be a lobbyist.
You know, I mean, not
They are unicorns. I mean,
Senator
they
can
are.
school you on that, but
absolutely. I can learn a lot from senators. So that's all I have to say.
No. Rooster's commentary there was actually very helpful because he's right. And I'm going to have to round up. I'm going to give it a 10.
yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Very nice. Pagoda,
Wow.
you're up.
Oh my lord! Now this puts a lot of pressure on me.
I
Be honest.
But,
Be
no
honest.
pressure.
but being very honest,
Yeah,
thank
honest.
you, Poobah, for introducing me to the Upmann 2. This is my first Upmann 2. Really, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the second half more than, how it gradually just grew into something I really, really enjoyed. The way I look at it is, it's a 9 for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bam Bam.
So I don't give in to peer pressure ever, and I don't like to always go with the crowd. None of that has any meaning for me. So when I really love something, I'm very brutally honest, for the good or for the bad, regardless of what people think. I am going to give this a 10.
All right.
This is a 10 for me.
Well, boys,
It's a high fucking score.
the composite lizard score
9.7.
on Poobah's.
It's got to be the highest rated cigar.
14 Upmann 2s.
Poobah's a great roller.
9.8.
That's fucking crazy.
I think that's the highest score yet.
Yeah.
Just quickly on this, Rooster's commentary was really helpful for me because
Agreed.
if I were to review the 2018 Upmann 2, I'd give it a 9.
Yeah.
And I think Rooster's point was really helpful in me figuring out where this really sits. And it's the age and what that brings that Poobah described. And I think like that creaminess and how it just married all those flavors together, regardless if I'm going to be so obsessed with this cigar, I'm going to need to have it every day, every week. It's a 10. It really, like you said, it delivers on everything it's supposed to.
So
I can't take issue with
here's
it.
just a general question. Early on in our recordings, episode 5, 6, or whenever it was, Rooster also made that point. Judge it for this cigar for this moment right now. But we argued against that at the time.
I don't think we did.
Well,
I don't think so.
We countered that by saying it's impossible to kind of rate this without keeping in mind other cigars. I remember, if you go back, you'll hear that. I don't remember what episode it was. But I kind of like the idea of rating it for what this cigar is right
For
now.
what it is, because it's
Right
the
now.
example. It epitomizes. It's like it's delivering on what it's designed to deliver on.
Yeah.
And that delivery is a very, very good thing. And I think that you just got to rate it on its merit. That's what it is. So,
Well, the debate I've had many times here has been about factoring in price point.
Price.
And I will
Yes.
beat this drum until I'm dead. I'm sorry. Like you have to, in my opinion, factor that in. And why I feel even stronger that this is a 10 is because this is a regular production Cuban that forget now if you tried to source this box.
Yeah, so
but if
that's a question.
But let's just be real.
Yeah.
If you in 2014 sourced a 2014 love box of these
They're
Upmanns,
probably $10 a piece.
they're $10 a cigar.
What's
the same way that, like, if we get a 21 box right now, you're not going to pay, like, it's not going to be cheap, but you're not going to pay a crazy amount of money. It's not some bullshit, limitada that doesn't deliver. So that holds a lot of weight for me, in that this is not an outrageously priced cigar to deliver such an incredible experience. And it encourages me to just let the 18 box I have and the 19 box just sit. And I can only imagine with, 5+ years of age, what that would be like.
So here's a question.
That does it for me.
So this is a 2014?
Yeah.
What does this 2014 Upmann 2 go for right now?
oh, it's
It's
gone-
unicorn
gone
pricing.
up. It's now
$30?
It's
more than
way more. I
looking
think they
at
go for
probably about-
$50 a
yeah.
cigar.
So
By
now
the-
if you
by the
factor that in,
$1,000.
But the reason I don't, let's just be clear here. Every Cuban, it doesn't matter what the cigar is, if it's any respected marca, right? We're talking Partagas, Upmann, Monte, Bolivar. If you're going to buy a 2014 of any of those marcas, you're going to pay a huge premium.
Yep.
So like we can do nothing about that. That's why I'm not going to knock this cigar. But the MSRP essentially, right? Like what this starts at, if this were in 2014 and we were buying these, it's not some crazy amount. Where we talk about some Davidoffs that the year they come out, the MSRP is 50, 40 a stick, and they don't deliver nearly a satisfying experience. So that's where I don't care that now there's a crazy premium. That's any Cuban that's respectable with this amount of age on it.
Yeah.
And I think it's
bump
worth.
something up like this against like what young Cohibas retail for now.
Oh, forget
Just
about
knocks
it.
their dick in the
It's not
dirt.
even
about
close.
Knocks their dick
It's
in the
not even
dirt.
close.
I
So
mean,
like
think
it-
about a Vegas Robaina Classico 2011.
$52 for that, right?
I know, but what when they came
When
out,
they came out,
it's
they were
like,
probably $10.
right, $10,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that stick is if you ever rate it, I'm sure it's
Yeah.
going to get a very high rating.
well, yeah, that's the wonderful cigar.
Special stick.
But this is also this is an unattainable cigar right now at this age.
Yeah, it's a
You
unicorn.
can't get this
Well,
cigar.
Poobah said it's a
but
unicorn.
but I think again, my point, you don't have to get it at this age. Like what I take
You
away from
don't.
this,
Yeah.
having had this at 14, at 18, at 19, right? They're all excellent.
The 18s
The flavor
are
profile is
fucking delicious.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Delicious.
All that this does, which obviously benefits tremendously, is it brings those flavors together in a way that becomes a bit more refined with age, and you get that creaminess. And so all that tells me is load up on young
Oh,
up
yeah.
and twos and hold them. Be
Yep.
patient with them. And that's worth it. Like this is proof that it's
Yeah.
worth letting
It's
it
proof
sit.
it is worth it. And I will say this as being a guy who's probably bought more Upmann twos and has more boxes of Upmann twos than anyone in this room.
Nobody's
maybe-
gonna argue
Maybe
that.
combined.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I will say I have had some that are better than others, and that's what I'll say at different ages and different price points. The thing about this particular box code, this LUB 14, and that's for a lot of Upmann. That's not just for this, but that's for
Cognac.
the Cognac.
Yep.
I mean, we can smoke some Cognacs. I have some Cognacs that are Lub 14s that will blow your hair back, and you'll be like, okay, now I see why you could maybe
Not mine.
chase.
No, I love the Cognac. I do love the Cognac.
I've got some
I like
Cognacs
that cigar.
that are aged that are really wonderful. So maybe one takeaway from this is that some Upmanns set up for aging really well, and I think that it's you could say with confidence that aging like larger ring gauge Upmanns, you can really get a lot out of them. So if you seek them out, put them down for a while. And I know that some people say that's bullshit. You shouldn't have to wait, but I think it's exemplified by the experience tonight. Sometimes, the time is precious, and that's what it takes.
Yeah.
And that's what these require.
And this is a little connoisseur corner kind of episode, maybe, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like I think
Agreed.
that it, to talk about it is a good thing.
But I think that for me, what I hear in all of this conversation is that someone who goes out and buys a box of reasonably priced young Upmann twos with an investment of time is going to have an experience that is maybe unmatched by spending any high dollar amount on a cigar that you can buy
That's a good
at
point.
that exact moment. So it's simply
So then
an investment in time.
when you think about it that way, then the rating of 10 makes sense.
It does.
It
That's
makes
the
sense
whole
for the
point.
It
cigar.
is a 10 because it's
It's a
smoked
10.
like a 10. kind
Exactly.
of. I mean, you can't deny it.
I
It's hard
can't.
to deny.
Now you're down to a half inch, and there is zero ammonia. There's no bitterness
Yeah,
at
it's
all.
totally perfect.
It's ridiculous.
And the Shark was a 9.7. This edged that out.
Dude,
This
that's
is now-
crazy. That's
this
kinda
is now
crazy.
the highest rated cigar
Yeah.
that we've ever
Yeah,
done.
and the last thing I'll say, we talked about obviously the Sir Winston, a very pricey, coveted cigar. At this price point and what this delivered, and the Winston gets even way crazier in price than this does.
Oh, sure.
I would take this. Now, this is why I'm factoring in price, right? I would take this over a Winston
Thank you.
when you
Thank
factor in price point any day of the
It
week.
punches over above its
Absolutely.
It
weight
does.
class.
Where like
Absolutely.
I gave this a 10. Now, who knows if someone is able to source a 14 box of Winston's that is going to smoke as good or better, maybe I'll feel differently.
Without leveraging
I
their
haven't
mortgage?
experienced that yet. And so for me, if we rate a Winston, I very well may give it a 9 because for what you have to pay for that experience and what it delivers and what you pay for this and that experience, I think this is a much better value.
Yeah, it's a
Absolutely.
fair point. It delivers. It exemplifies the marker well.
It really, I hesitate to say that it was shocking to me, but it really was an amazing experience tonight. This
Yeah,
cigar.
yeah.
I'm very grateful. Thank you, Poobah.
No doubt.
A
No,
plus,
no doubt.
A plus. And again, to the listener, buy these cigars, get them at a reasonable price, and forget about them.
And start drinking some cognac.
And
Yeah,
start drinking
And
some
start drinking
cognac.
some cognac, man.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
the cognac. And
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
it seems like we're just dipping our toe into the pool. Like I feel like in a couple weeks or a couple months, we're going to be deep into cognac.
Yeah, we'll have Louis the 14th next week.
Is it the 13th or
Perfect.
the 14th?
14th.
14th, isn't it?
I'm in.
Awesome, boys. All right, so a 9.8 for the amazing Lub 14 Upmann 2. And awesome, guys. Great night, and we'll see you all next week.
Keep smoking.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, loungelizardspod, P-O-D, that's loungelizardspod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.